Hello, everybody. This is Vandana Saigal. I am an author, book writing coach, and right now a teacher as well. I have written two books for adults and another two books for children. The second children's book is almost in the publishing process and it will be out soon in this month. But today I have a special guest, Miss Nirmala ji, Nirmala Pillai, with me who is a great friend. We met almost like around COVID when the world was changing and new ways of connections were building up, and we found each other online. Since then, we have been talking a lot about books, about the writing process. In a way, we sometimes become each other's accountability partners, or we share a lot of ideas, and that helps us in writing and becoming better writers as well. Nirmala ji has written three books in poetry, and then she has one collection of short stories. She also has written her novel, which was recently published. It's called The Secrets of Mango Rain. She's an artist in two ways. She is a writer as well as a painter. And most of the times, and I think Nirmala ji, you will be able to confirm me, my understanding has been that most of the times you use your paintings as your cover page. So thank you, Nirmala ji, for accepting this invite. Please tell our viewers more about your writing journey and how you came into writing. I know you were secretly writing before you openly came out and presented your books to the world. So, yes, Nirmala ji.
Thank you, Vandana, for having me and having this lovely talk session because we have been doing it on and off, but now doing it together and going back into the past, rekindles a lot of memories of how we started writing as a child. And for me, it is more special because you're talking from Sweden, and one of my pen friends from Sweden was the one who kindled the idea of writing, and I came to know that I could write because I used to write long letters to her. She was a daughter of my uncle's guide professor when he was doing his PhD in Stockholm. So I think this is like coming back to where you started. So thank you once again. And for all the people who are hearing this from any part of the world, writing is something not only a therapy, but it is also part of your personality. You may publish, you may become famous, you may not become famous, but at the end of the day, writing is the same as breathing.
Yeah, very, very true, Nirmala ji. It just becomes part of you. And as a writer, I can confirm that till the time I don't write, it feels something feels incomplete within me. So as you said, you might not be successful, but it is like breathing and writing your story for yourself, for your healing. Uh, so, how did the whole journey started? When did you publish your books? Even though you were writing, like as a pen friend, you were writing a lot. But when did you come into, like, openly came out with your books?
Yeah. For me, my writing journey started, as I said, at the age of 10 or 11. But what gave me confidence was that when I wrote, I could feel more confident in myself and expressing myself. And it also helped me in school when you wrote essays, you get good marks, and the teacher tell the class, this is how an essay should be written. So I started quite early. And one of my father's relative was a writer, and he took whatever I wrote, and nobody knew I was writing in all those little diaries and pieces of paper and all. I started writing poetry, and it was a time when you were growing and you had a lot of emotions to express. And when they read it, and he took it to the children's page of Free Press Journal. That time it was one of the very big newspapers who had a children's section every Sunday. And from that day onward, there was no turning back. Every Sunday, one of my poems used to appear, and that way I gained confidence. And then people started asking, who is this girl who's writing so many poems which has got so much of depth in it? And then I also got interviewed. I was the age of 19. I'd come in an all India newspaper, then World edition and all. So that gave me confidence and I started writing. Then I started writing short stories. So that is how my writing journey started. And I used to read a lot. They used to call me bookworm, walking encyclopedia and all. And that also gave me a world, inner world, where whatever I thought and felt, I had to write it. So I started keeping diaries. So that is also another way, started journaling whatever I felt. So my writing career really took off, in a big way. And there was support. People said, okay, you write, but write well. And they told read good books, read good magazines. That way I start.
I remember once you told me that you were into a government job, and that time you were writing either under a pen name. You were not openly talking about or sharing that, you are writing.
No, I think that was more, when you start sending out poems and stories and all, sometimes they get rejection and you think, it's something to do with the name. So just for the fun of it, I started changing my names. If it was Nirmala, I used to make it Alamrin or Ulta Likhta Tha. So it became funny that I had a game with myself, thinking that looking at this exotic sounding name, maybe they will take my poem. So I have gone through that phase also, because everything you write is not published. But
Yeah.
your enthusiasm, makes you play a game with yourself. Because I was also, as part of my career, I was a science student who did microbiology. Then I took journalism and English literature because I thought I was good in writing. And then along the way, life came, and then you wrote the civil service, got in, and I landed up in, finance. So I was literally a jack of all trades or master of none or Jackie of all trades. But I continued writing because it became a therapy for me, and I started painting at the side. So my life was full with creativity.
Yeah, and I've seen some beautiful paintings of yours, and I also know that you do a lot of exhibitions with your paintings. Uh, if we have to talk about more about writing, when you start with your book, recently you have published your novel, and you are in the process of writing your second novel. So, do you plan an outline, or you just start with the idea and whatever comes to your, whatever comes along with the process, you go with it?
I think as a writer, something must not only enthuse you, you must be passionate about something. It might be a scene, it might be a memory, it might be an experience, but it touches you so much, that you need to write about it. But when you write about it and you decide that, yes, I want to write a book or a story or based on a theme or a setting, it should remain your passion, because it should not be like, gets ignited and then goes off. Because a story is also very organic, it grows. So as the story grows, once something enthuses me, then I do some research on it, because I want the authenticity also of what I'm writing. So my novel, for example, was based on Kerala, and my Kerala experience is what we go for vacations to our hometown with where my parents grew up. I was born and brought up in Mumbai. So every time I went, the beauty of Kerala was so touching. And then I saw these huge Haveli type of houses. And I said, "Arey, my parents came from such big, big houses and, had a lot of land and plantations and all. And suddenly you come to Bombay and in this small flat you're staying." So it stayed with me. And my grandparents said stories about a time and culture which I did not see, but I was very fascinated. So that triggered my interest. And then again, a story of my uncle going abroad and living a life over there, that also enthused me. So putting both together and all those experiences with my imagination was the base of my story. And that I started developing it over a period of time with outlines and parts and all, which came later. But my first draft was written organically, or spontaneously, with the setting was very clear: USA, India, and Sweden. And the storyline, I was very clear about my characters and how they lived their life and what would be their outcome. So that is why I was able to to make the structure of my novel early on.
So basically, the structure of your novel was cooking up in your head, and gradually it came into
Yeah,
writing.
Yeah, because I wrote at least two or three drafts first, and secondly, I also needed to know in the voice in which is it my own voice in the first person or in the second person or third person. So I wanted to bring out clarity, not only clarity, but also give a voice to the characters as they are writing. As I'm writing, they need to be independent of me. I don't want to be,
Mm.
like omnipresent.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
with that, I had to change. So my novel took some time because first I wrote in the first person. I understood there was intensity,
Mm.
but I could not. There was limitations and restrictions because I could not present the entire setting and the cultural nature of what I was writing at. So I needed a wider panoramic scope. So I started writing in the other. So my time, I took at least 6 or 7 years writing a novel which was stretching out with a panoramic vista, which carried culture, which carried modernity, and which also carried the individual emotional. It was more an emotional drama, love story.
Mm. That's so interesting. How did you put these your characters in different compartments? Because they would have a different way of talking. The language they use will be very different, and the emotions they go through will also be very different. How did you manage that?
See, the most important thing was when I started writing, I realized that, the English that is spoken in Kerala is different. The English that I speak and I learned is different because both is second language for me. My English is not my mother tongue. But having this is where research comes in. A person, there are two, three foreigners who are there in my novel. That is Sven is there, his girlfriend is there, then his the cousin who's here in USA. So all of them, I should use the words of that particular year which I'm writing. If it is in the 70s or 80s or 90s, certain things were not there that time. What is available now? So I should, like, for example, if I use mobile phones came in 95. There was no mobile phones in the 80s when my story is set. So
Right.
all these little things I had to make, research and find out. Even the words which I use during the conversation, I cannot use the language I use now at that time.
Hmm.
So that way I had to be careful. The language which I had to ask for people from that point of time, is this the correct usage? Did these things exist when I'm using certain things like grass, medicines and all, whether this was used at that time. So I had to do a lot of research because mine is a three generation story. So I should also be careful about the age gaps that somebody is 50, I can't say that the granddaughter was born at this time. So all those checkings I have to do. I have to be extremely careful. And then chapter by chapter, part by part, I have to build up scenes.
Hmm.
So each scene should flow into the next scene because there should be progression of language, progression of characters, and progression of conflicts and resolutions.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. And how the publication process has been for you? Once it was
Well,
written, did you first go into the editing part, or you edited by yourself and sent it to the publishers? How was the process?
as I said, I had done in three, four times revisions of my own manuscript,
Yeah,
but I wanted to put the best version forward. So
yes.
I did get my novel edited also professionally before I send it out to the publishers. Now, publishers is like a three-ring circus. I don't know my story, who's going to accept it. Whether the publishers, the traditional publishers, as we call the top five, they look at the market and commercial opportunity. For me, like they say, even for a crow, the crow's child is a golden child. My book was my own creation and I liked it. So I would
Yeah.
like to give it the best possible pathway for growing up and success. But sometimes we have to be also prepared for, I wouldn't say rejection, but acceptance, because they are also in the publishing business.
Hmm.
So that is why I looked around and I realized later on that if I had a literary agent,
Hmm.
I would have been much more professional because they would also do the searching around and putting it with a good publisher. Initially, in the first 7 or 8 years, I did everything on my own.
Hmm.
But finally, when I came to know the market better and with each learning, of the writing journey, I realized that, if I also let me send it to write abroad Indian writers, not only Indian literary agents, but also literary agents abroad. Now, I got good feedback with this action because some literary agents abroad said your book is too Indian to connect with a foreign audience. But
Hmm.
that did not put me off because I will find an audience finally, I know. So finally, I was lucky enough to get a good literary agent in India who did a very good job and got me a very good publisher. And that is how my book. So during that time, I kept on editing it. I got feedback from beta readers because it was long time in the making. And since it was my first novel, I wanted to do the best. And by the time my career wise also, I was going very high in the civil service and I had no time and all. But my painting was also taken on a big role for me. Both of
Hmm.
them were stress busters, but I clung on to what I love. And I also ended up being a TEDx speaker because of my journey. So I'm glad that I'm sharing it that don't give up. Do what you
Yeah.
love, continue doing what you love.
Yeah. Yeah. And it might take time, but eventually you get the results. And now your
Yes.
book is
Yes.
out.
Yeah, my book is out. It got an award. And maybe it may be also being looked at for the OTT platform. And all thanks to my agent.
Amazing, amazing. Are you right now working on another novel? Is it a series or it's something new that is coming up?
I'm writing. I've got actually the second novel. I started out with a professional writer was having a class or retreat. So I also joined because every opportunity is a learning experience for me. I've gone on literary retreats to Italy. I've done a short-term course in Oxford. I've done it in India because when you meet people and you discuss with people, you learn something from them. And all that helps me in my writing journey. So I have done that. And my second novel is complete. I'm getting it edited and all. My third and fourth one is a time travel story. That also I have written the outline. So one of the first things is that, I know where I've started and where my story is going to end. And
Hmm.
in between that, I keep on writing middles and small articles and features so that I stay on top of my writing. And I do a lot of reading, which has now suffered a lot, which I'm going to go back because I think reading also fuels your thought process and
Yeah.
your ideas of what is happening around. So as a writer, you should also read. Read what is current and what is old and go back to what you have read. For example, I like Dr. Zhivago and it blew my mind, although it was in translation. All the Russian classical writer Boris Pasternak's Dr. Zhivago, I saw the movie. So even now, for me, Dr. Zhivago is something which, I would love to do a book like that, but I don't know if I will be able to because so much of energy and beauty and all I've gotten into that Russian, World War time story of generations changing, history changing, but it's beautifully written. So I would like to do something like that, but I don't know. But my second and third novel, they are very crisp and short, and I've decided not to write big, big novels like my first one because I wanted to finish what I've thought in my mind and bring out my books.
Hmm. Yeah. What is your writing routine? Like, do you write in the morning or nights or afternoon? What is your best time to write?
My best time to write is always night. Because I think I won't be wasting my time saying that, from morning. Once I start writing, the idea germinates in your head, and every word, every action you see around, oh, can I use it in my writing? Have I learned this new word? So it's always going background. So it is on the back burner, but once you start writing, no, then it is so much of not only enthusiasm, excitement comes, a thrill comes to finish it off. And then through the night, I write. And you become very exhausted, tired, and all. But there is a satisfaction that I have written something today.
Yeah. It to me it feels like that you breathe and live writing. Like every
Yeah,
cell of
I do.
your
I
body
do.
is about writing.
Yeah, I want to do that because I do this dual thing, no painting. So I get excited about painting. This entire writing thing goes to the side and then you forget about it. To restart, it's very difficult. But once you start it, you're going down the hill and up the hill. Nothing can stop you. But it's a balancing act. Sometimes for 2 years, 3 years, you think you have a writer's block. It's just that you have shifted to painting.
Yeah, yeah. My last question to you, Nirmala ji. What book are you reading these days?
Now, the book which I'm reading now is a book which is right on my table, and it's
Hmm.
called Jeet Thayil's Elsewherians. Because this is
Can
all,
you show a little bit towards the camera? Yeah,
yeah.
towards, yeah, yeah, this one.
Jeet Thayil is also a very good writer and poet, and he's from Kerala. So he has also written about the family. So it's something like what I'm interested in Kerala background, and he also got an award called Necropolis. He has written. So I like his book. I'm reading this book to see how good I am also when compared to it. And it's been published by a Harper, I think, Fourth Estate.
Hmm.
So I'm reading that book, and another one book I'm reading is also very nice. That is called uh, Rochelle Potker's. This I know her, and she's got awards and all that. It's about a Bombay family staying in a flat. So my
Okay.
second novel, yeah, and DeCosta family. So this is also something like my second novel about first generation migrants coming and living in Bombay urban, and how mother and daughter relationship, somebody who's rural and urban, and how English speaking and Malayalam speaking, how the cultural gap shortens not only with conflicts, but at the end of the day, both understand each other and they learn to live in peace in the family.
Yeah. Is it like a research that you have started for your next book?
Yeah, something like that. And I also am very fascinated by the book of The House on Mango Street by Sandra Ciceros. So that
Hmm.
has been my inspiration for writing my second novel because it has got, I like structures, which are very different. So that, the vehicle which carries your story, if it is very normal and conventional, people feel bored. Here,
Hmm.
people look at not only the story, but also the characters and how the story ends. Like God of small things, no? That
Yeah.
is also another one is character where the structure itself becomes a character. The novel itself, the writing, style of writing. So I like to write something different.
Yeah. And may keep it more exciting actually.
Yeah, exciting because you are not expecting something, you expect something, but what comes up is every chapter something different.
Hmm.
But you must always
Um,
keep in mind your story. That is why if you have an outline and you know towards what end you're moving, no, you can do course correction.
right. Yeah. And it takes a lot of time also to write such books. I think it definitely takes more than an year to, if you have to produce a novel of 1 lakh words or something, it definitely takes a lot of time
I
and effort.
I I wrote around 1 lakh, but then I reduced it because I know people. It's very difficult nowadays for getting attention, and
Hmm.
people basically it's around 80,000 words for a novel. Now I'm planning only 40, 50,000 because basically in this generation of AI, anybody can produce a novel in hours. But my reservations are there because I don't know whether creativity will be affected. A lot of debates are taking place. But if you're true to yourself and you enjoy writing, no, first you write for yourself and then think about if you become successful and all, it's all a bonus.
Absolutely. Thank you, Nirmala ji, for your time. It is
Thank you.
always a pleasure to talk to you. I get to learn so much from you. And today it's like I could see the writing, just flows in your blood. And I hope someday I can also reach to that level. Thank you for your time and talk to you soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me once again. And I hope we have more conversations and more people joining, because if you talk about writing, only writing can breathe, because we are the vehicles which carry creative ideas, and not only ideas, but also people, characters, which we enjoyed during our young youth. With the coming generations also know, they should also know how people lived and what the future is like.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You just now heard author Nirmala Pillai talking about her writing journey. To receive more ideas about writing and to make your writing process easier, subscribe to the channel. If you like this video, hit the like button and share with your author friends. Keep shining and smiling. I will see you in the next video.